Well, scared the crows anyway. Hi, it's Todd of Todd's Workshop and Todd Cutler here, and today I'm back with an 850-pound draw weight crossbow. Not the windlass crossbow that Scalagrim had, the one that I was looking after, but another one that I've made. His one's now moved on. In a recent video, I shot this, and I called it the End Him Rightly bolt. Although, of course, actually, as we all now know, if you've read the comments, the End Him Swiftly bolt. It's not as good an idea, but it's, you know, it's the truth, let's face it. 510 grams of steel, and it was awesome. And at the end of that video, you know, I thought, well, actually, let's look at what different bolt weights do, because they will fly different distances, they will carry different energies with them, and they did shoot different weight bolts. So let's find out what it's all about. But before I go on, I'd just like to say that I'm filming here, again on location at Kentwell Hall, which is now open after this horrible COVID mess. And, you know, we have a whole load of events coming up, so just come on down, check out the website, see what's going on. It's an amazing place, and it's where my journey in history really began. But anyway, back to the subject now. So the lightest bolt here is a needle bodkin at 65 grams. And then we have a couple of plate cutters here at 80 and 93 grams. So again, these are historical weights for these. It's what I get out of museums, museum catalogues, books and so on. And then the last one is this crazy thing here. So these ones you'll know about, you've seen before plenty of times. I mean, look at this thing here. It's called a crown bolt, but really it's a mace on a stick. So it's what, 21 millimeter diameter here, something like that, 7/8 of an inch. It's just a brute, 159 grams. 89 grams of that, in case you're curious, is the head. But then the shaft, of course, is so much bigger. I'm going to come back to these because I find these really interesting, but they are apparently for shooting at animals where you want to retain the fur without puncturing a hole through it. Again, in the book that I lifted this from, it says they don't travel as far. Evidently, it's not going to travel as far. I mean, it's much blunter, much heavier, but let's see what it does. Really, we're just going to do a very simple test now. We've got 4 bolts at different weights. We're going to shoot them for distance. I've got an angle meter on my phone, so we'll get the angle of the bow exactly the same for everyone, and we'll get an absolute definitive answer on how far this bow shoots the different weight bolts. Just loading up for our first one, which was 65 grams on a needle bodkin. So all the shafts and vanes are the same, except rather obviously for the crown bolt. Usual story, you've got to unwind the ropes first, otherwise it's just a bit of a nightmare to look after. Okay, 3, 2, 1. That's a long one. I don't know how long. Looked good, it's just impossible to tell. Right, let's go again. And going 80 grams. Thump. Well, scared the crows anyway. God, I don't usually shoot for distance, so it is interesting to see what happens, but like I said, you just got absolutely no concept of what's going on at the other end, really. If you want me to guess, I'd say that went further. But of course, logic says that's just not even possible because it's 20 grams, 15 grams more. And other than that, flights and shaft are the same. Oh. And down, right. Then the last of them is this crazy crown bolt. Supposed to be for hunting, and I think also they used to use it for target use, because of course it doesn't penetrate the target. So you haven't got to pry your bolt out of the target all the time, which anybody who shoots modern crossbows knows can be really quite annoying. So this is a rather crazy 159 grams. There we go, 45 and go. Yeah, much less, you can tell. Right, let's get our rangefinder and see how far we've gone. And the thing you all want to see is the End Him Rightly bolt, but I can't show you. This was made for Scal's bow, and actually it will hit the stirrup on this one. The sizes were slightly different. I just can't shoot this off this bow, so sorry guys. Just walking out to them now and we'll get a distance with a rangefinder. But you know, I think about these things an awful lot, and I mull over them, you know, early mornings, late at night, it's just what I do. Now the string on that bow there, I haven't made one for a while, and I think I've made it too heavy. It's definitely thick, and it's probably better for a 1200 than it is an 850. So I might run this test again at some point in the future and put a thinner string on it, and just see what kind of difference that makes. Anyway, maybe it's going to be a nice respectable number, maybe it's going to be embarrassing. We'll find out. So we have our first bolt, our crown bolt. 148 yards with a 159 gram bolt. Sorry for the mixed numbers, but this is the UK. We've got our next one here, which is, oh blimey, that's in. 93 grams. And the distance, 219 yards. So, okay. But it does become interesting. There was, I think it was in the 1970s, there was a French mathematician, physicist, historian, called Liebel, who did a lot of work on crossbows. And I think from memory he was calculating they should be reaching maybe 240 or 260 yards, something like that. But anyway, here's our next one. Oops. Aha. 80 grams. So at least we haven't had some weird upset which has changed the laws of physics, because they are in the order they're supposed to be. 223 yards. And then we have the last of them here. 65 grams. And a needle bodkin. And that has gone 238 yards. Now that was a very unsurprising result, and also a surprising one. So we're going to go for the unsurprising result first of all. Well, the absolute tank, the club, the mace, didn't go that far. It was 160 yards or something like that. And then the others behaved again as exactly as you would think. They went a distance proportionate to their mass. So all of that is what you would imagine it to be. The lightest one ending up going about 235 yards, I think it was. That's all, in some respects, a little bit uninteresting. It's what you'd expect. But it got me thinking, because last time I did a distance trial with one of these heavy windlass bows was here at Kentwell Hall. But it was a 1,250 pound bow, not an 850 pound. So 400 pounds difference. And it shot almost exactly the same distance. I think the bolt was probably slightly heavier, but it did the same kind of distance. It wasn't a revolutionary difference. And so, you know, it's my theory here, but I think what's going on really is, if you think back to 5-6 films ago, I shot a very light bolt off one of these windlass bows, and it hardly went any faster at all than a heavy one. So the traditional way of getting more energy into target is you make your projectile faster. But these steel limbs, they don't go any faster. It doesn't matter how light your projectile is, they don't go faster. So you get more energy into your target by mass. And that is why the draw weights of these military bows, steel limb military bows, were just going up to crazy numbers like 1,500 pounds and stuff, is because you get the energy into your target by simply shifting a big heavy lump. You can't do it quickly, but you can make it heavy. And I think that's what all these are about. Now I have to stress again, that's just my theory. That's really, I'm trying to understand these bows like you are. And I think that's what it's about. But anyway, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. We have our bow mounted in a jack here with a load cell set in pounds, and the distance we're looking for from the belly to the string is 288 millimetres, so just under 12 inches. That gives a power stroke of 173 millimetres. So I've just marked it with a red line on the ruler. We'll just jack it up, there we go, and we'll see what we get. So hopefully somewhere between around 850 to 880, something like that is what I'm expecting off this bow. And I'm going to have to step up now. So we've got another 50 mil, 2 inches or so to go. So we're getting relatively close. I don't want to overdo it, obviously. There. That's it. 850, in fact 850 exactly. So that is around about 385, 390 kilos, something like that. We're going to let the thing down, and now we're done. When you're dealing with bow weights like this, you've got to use jacks like this. It's just, you know, the whole thing is heavy industry. I mean, you can imagine back in the day, the sort of equipment they needed just to span these things and put strings on them and do maintenance and things. Right, there we are, we're done.